Okay, my name is Rob Ellis, Pink Development Construction. Today we're going to be looking at horizontal land partners. We are institutional level land advisors, and we look at development feasibility. Today is April 25th, and we have um this is the we are working on this site plan. So this is our newest apartment. This shows a courtyard, developments on both sides. This is one that we have looked at traffic and developed everything properly. And at this point now, we are moving on to basically um, this is an LAR3 zoning site plan, which means we could have done AR3, but we used the limitation text as a way to negotiate. So this particular building is on 1.6 acres. It encompasses two parcels, which we'll get into, which need to be demolished, and we will get into that in a second. This is the South Side Area Commission. It's a rezoning from manufacturing LM limited to LAR3. This is a type, it's actually less than 35 feet. It's 35 feet exactly. And we are looking at this from a up to 177 dwelling units. That is the density. And we are underneath the highest one ever approved. So there is legal precedent. And because of our substantial screening, these are adjacent residential districts down here. We have substantial screenings, and we've put the building closer to a the east side here. And we're going to get into this a little bit. So we use up to because it gives us the flexibility to develop things. We're allowed up to 50% lot coverage. We have 45%, and that is absolutely the max floor plate with this is the largest building that you could get approved. The thing is about parking, we would have to ask for a parking reduction if we didn't get a building this large approved. So to account for that, we have these driveway areas along with this. And then this is a 4-story structured parking, but it's open. So this would be a retaining wall, retaining wall, retaining wall. And then these would be, this is flat like this. And as you go down, you can see, you'd have a greater view. So that's the absolute most efficient. We've been able to get full support. This is a fully and properly parked development. We are above the 10% minimum open space. We have, this is going to be one of the highest densities approved. And after Pizzuti's project, and I think it was 113 an acre, and we recommended coming forward. Now we go to the Development Commission on, if you look here at Development Commission, this is the meetings. So they have hearings on the second Tuesday of the month. Okay, that's June. There's no agenda because they haven't had it. But the overall meeting schedule is right here. It says what we need to do, who's there. So we will be going on June 12th because we have our traffic study support. So we have been pending, waiting for this to be approved. You see the turn lanes here. We had to move some of this stuff over a little bit in a little bit of the building. And again, this can always be edited. This is a site plan, a zoning site plan. You see this, it's not for construction, but it shows the general makeups of everything. And this is typically done by an urban planner. But we self-perform this and we work with engineering groups directly, like civil, sanitary, sewer, and other things. So we have the trash compactors and open spaces, and this is meant to be this design came from ours. This is the most efficient way with fire lane capabilities and landlocked without access and without going more than 3 floors to be able to do it. So our total Open space is that rear yard. It talks about it. It talks about green space, post-development impervious, and then the maximum gross building area is 239,000 square feet. That includes parking. So open air parking, we haven't put together a development budget, but the building footprint times four is if you look at the building footprint, let's see here, 31,000, we have 4 floors of parking. So 31,000 times probably 140 a foot times four. This is a $17 million building to build. The land they already owned. We look at land lift and development appraisals, which would be next post approvals. But 17 million plus, let's say their land base is 4 million. We think it'll be worth, it's typically 15,000 a door. So 177 times 15,000 a door is 2.65 million. So we tried to get for more. I think that's a little light, but they're going to make 1.5 million on the land, and their basis was almost 500,000 an acre. We got the density needed to get them approved. If you times that, or if you plus that by the development budget, let's say 17 and a half, that's 20 million. And a suburban adjacent apartment at a minimum will be worth 200 a door times 177 is 35 million. The difference is the equity in the parking. So they only need about a 30% equity position. You have to add in the cost of permitting too, but that's probably low as well, depending on the rents that we get and their overall yields. We can look at appraisal and have their development appraisal put in a scenario table that shows based on 2 or 3 concepts, what would the appraised values be? And so they come in on that and they can get a sensitivity table. But if you times this by probably 70% when they go to refinance, they have 24 million. So as long as their parking is under 4 million, which it's probably 120,000 square feet at $50 a foot, it's probably 2 million bucks, 120,000 times, oh, let's just say 60 a foot to be safe, 1.75 million. So as long as that's the case and it's over 20 million, they have the ability to pull all of their cash out at stabilization and refinance out their partners or their development partners. So we've been working on both sides of this, and that's the quick numbers. This is, like I said, 109 units up to 177. This gives all the side yards, the lot coverages, the minimum open space required, rear yards, 38,000. We have planning support and zoning support, and we have our traffic study completed, which means we should have full staff support by June 12th. We will build letters of support for this development, and that would help our candidate from a perspective like this. So as we build our materials, and this I can write, you can write a letter of support in 5 seconds. I can say, take this development info as well as our commitment. I am Robert Ellis with Pink Development and Construction. We stand to get a project size of around $20 million in construction. And it would be a big net benefit to not only us, but we always use local contractors, no traveling teams, and would be a great precedent. It would also push the envelope for proper development mixed between multiple housing stocks, affordable and market rate, driven by market rates, strength, and absorption. I helped on the early entitlements and capital stack design. The current property is underperforming. Okay, so we write that. This is what a letter of support can look like. We write our limitation text, which shows, let's see how many units. Yep, nothing here has changed. It's all the same. So we haven't really worked on this since back then. And we are at this point, here's a fully polished institutional grade commitment letter. To whom it may concern, I'm pleased to formally express our formal commitment to the proposed as the applicant, lead entitlement advisor. Pink Development's vision to deliver a $20 million that will serve as a precedent for South Side, 100% local construction sourcing, mixed use, underutilized property activation, neighborhood focused design. It's also lower than the highest density ever approved on the south side, and we had more than 5 public hearings and town halls and had a split vote at the area commission, the South Side Area Commission, mostly due to development at the area commission. This also represents full standard parking, no reductions in parking, and developed to full development standards with full staff support, planning, zoning, and traffic. We waited to have full staff support to encourage the applicant to come to the development commission. And this applicant wants to do more. Right now, we have transitioned to horizontal development in suburban markets and continued votes against institutional level properly planned developments with full staff support will depress Columbus as we are institutional level land advisory firm. I own horizontal land partners, and the continued lack of groundbreaking development and area commissions has made this process extremely painful and cost prohibitive for most non-local groups. No out-of-state groups want to take risks like this. This is a precedent to set, and a vote against it will be the wrong message. This goes along with the Upzone initiative or Zone In by Columbus. And let's see here, Pizzuti Whittier Street project. Jaeger Square. This is 262 units on a smaller plot. Let's see here. You have to look at the address here. 280 Whittier. This is the development we're talking about. They might have already parceled it out. Let's see here though. I can pull it up. Planning is and potentially you have more than welcome to bring any supplementals. The proposed density. So we'd say here, acre square. Pizzuti had 262 units on 2.26 acres. Um, let's see if I have the application. Pizzuti had, which was already approved by both the Development Commission and City Council, which had a split vote from the Area Commission and a positive vote from staff with support. That precedent is the same coattails that we are riding. Okay, let's see here. Extremely strong inside baseball language. Pre-hearing. Advocacy statement on Freebus Avenue development. Robert Ellis, Pink Development and Horizontal Land Partners. I'm writing to reaffirm our full commitment and advocacy for the proposed Freebus Avenue mixed income development currently under consideration. 2 years of active entitlement engagement, more than 5 public hearings, town halls, and work sessions from the Southside Area Commission, Columbus Planning Division. It's a development proposal that fully complies with every standard, no variance requested, and represents a project meticulously refined with full staff to support across planning, zoning, traffic, and development services. Hyatt, our application, full standard parking, neighborhood engagement to delay advance until staff support, density precedent, lower than the other recently approved. Institutional development, our firm operates at an institutional level land advisory and construction, typically representing suburban growth markets, Ohio and Florida. Continued rejection against fully compliant staff supported institutionally level plan project will discourage both local and out-of-state investment into Columbus infill opportunities. The denial of this project would send the wrong signal at a time when Columbus is pursuing initiatives like upzone and zone in. A developer willing to do more. Unlike local, we are not retreating. We are actively advocating for full future housing and best design and urge the city to support this project. Compliant institutional level back, locally run development achieved through painstaking collaboration and public engagement can and will be rewarded, not penalized. Highlights explicitly states rate 1 to 10. So we write a letter of support. How many construction jobs are created for every 1,000 square feet? This is a 229,000 square foot building. Plus, we'll create long-term management positions and on-site management, which has been committed to by the developer. Show the number of jobs in long-term jobs or a 170 unit development. Mention the specific density already approved by this commission. So excellent. Let's walk through this short term. One job. So that would create 229 construction jobs, 225 direct construction jobs, one on site for every 100, three full time, 4 to 5. Density 266, 115, your density. Here's how you can incorporate it. We'll create full-time construction during the build phase, suppliers and trade workers. Now you update it. Yep. Add this all into the advocacy letter. And add our signature. I can't sign it, but so this talks about the Freebus Avenue. No variances, highest standards, substantial economic benefits, permanent, setting a critical precedent. I don't know if I put, let's see the limitation text. I think they had us, let's see here. All frontage, one right of way, building design and treatments, all graphics. Okay. So we had a commitment with affordability, but I think they took it out. And so max of 2 stories. Right. So I would say I'd focus on the non-height change as well and lower front tier for a neighborhood blend and further setbacks from adjacent residential zones. So we're talking about the development standards, screening, and other things. Let's see here. We're gonna check. Dame is our planner. We have to look back into we were in front of the Development Commission. It said tabled. In addition, we came before them in November and tabled to make sure we had addressed all of their concerns, mostly related to traffic. This was the original meeting outcome. Okay. respect for neighborhood character, commitment to collaboration with process, density precedent, institutional development standards, sustainable impact, setting a critical precedent, willingness to do more, urgency to support this project. Now, what we're looking for is the statements that were made by planning. Let's see here, planning. Let's see here. I thought we can ask our planner. uh, statements. Right, so we can incorporate that. I can't really find it, but we're asking them to have an updated. But the last thing that we needed was um this traffic study. And this is the last portion to bring in, which is can we add this was why we tabled and the comments. That's very strong, responsibly addressed, and you have traffic ex approval. Fully staffed support, commitment to collaboration, accepts this study. And we talked about that. Let's see here. And that is everything. So we look at this letter. Um, rate this 1 to 10. Professional tone, no casual reads like a major developer's advocacy, history, tabling traffic, economic impacts, precedent, project, zoning alignment, frames the project as reasonable, collaborative, potential tax dollars. How much are the potential tax dollars on a development worth 20 million in construction? Please add it. This developer is considering a partial or full tax abatement, which the city is in full recognition. But if it's not finalized, that's the tax dollars represented. Okay, to the city, 2 years, response of neighborhood character. We also had planning. Planning's in full support of this proposal. Here we go. That was back in November. So we say, we go here and we say, planning said that originally it came with this, it came with this comments, we lowered it below Pizzuti, and we got this screenshot, which shows our continued concessions and working very closely. The original proposal was 10 stories, 500,000 square feet. Okay, let's see here. We reduced, and then we were just waiting on traffic. We'll find the answer since this is so slow. There we go. Voluntarily downsized, earned full planning based on concessions, buffering alignment, and the final delay was only traffic related. Letter is a clear chronological collaboration and process. So Pink Development, Horizontal Land Partners, Advocacy for Freebus Avenue Development. Yeah, highest integrity that it talks about. Institutional development standards, setting a critical precedent. Rate this 1 to 10. I'm sure it's going to be 10. So we take this, put it in a letter of recommendation. We sign it and we submit it in there. And this is one of the zoning tools that you have to do. We're just gonna call this freebiz. And we're gonna get into something else here too, but basically we want to make sure that our clients are feeling really good about having us as it. This is important for us to, this shows the pathway of the entire development. And let's see if it still talks about the jobs. Yep, construction jobs, 5 million in tax revenue, full taxable value scenario. And I don't think you can really vote against this. I would say we're also like talking to zoning attorneys and affordable housing development arms. So let's see here. It's tens. We brought a big vision. We listened, we changed, we solved it. It's time to say yes. So this is basically max yield. If I was to do max site yield, and if we had to surface park this, what would be our reduction in unit counts? 350% coverage and 330 square feet per surface space. We are much more efficient than the traditional apartments. If you would need an acre, you'd probably get, with no variances, 4 stories, but the limitation would be the parking. 70,000, 35, that would be 170 units, right? If we reduced that, the net loss, so we are, and if they asked for a parking, that shows our efficiency on entitlements, right? So our entitlement efficiency, we unlocked 177 units on 1.6, 110 units per acre without reduced parking compliance, reserved it despite high density. You avoided 60% yield reduction. And what is the net land value add for 15 for the net land value add for at 15,000 an acre valuation. Our entitlement versus the buy right without variances due to design and design etc. basically experience. If the contract was for 60,000 on a 6 to 12-month engagement, what is their entitlement spend return? We calculated by land uplift. We set the early land value at around 1 million basis on existing use that is underperforming. Let's see what it says. So we send our letter in. This is kind of our closing remarks for this job. We're pretty much done. We've built down 90% of the contract. And let's see what they say. Being extra slow today. It's probably, why is this so slow today? It's basically break even at 70 units. Land value increased. Return on entitlement spend, 26%. Every $1 in land value creation. Equity experience doubled the yield count, avoided variances, reduced risk, converted 1 million into 2 million for 60,000, 1.6 uplift. And the net equity per housing unit is probably 70,000. Add that in. Gosh, it's too slow. I can't handle these simple. So if you look at build cost and the extra equity project value, right? We look at this as a case study for our entitlement firm, Horizontal Land Partners and Pink Development. And that's probably another 7 million in equity that we created for this investor. If you add that in post stabilization with the entitlement gains, you can see that these are not average returns. Unit level, net equity, full updated item, site area, original, land value per unit, net land uplift, equity created over 14 million. And then what is total project equity lift over entitlement spend? Can you show it? This is how we measure how much total wealth, land and housing equity for the small entitlement cost. And so 234 times. And can you break out a percentage lift in land and in housing unit uplift? So it's blended. We track very high level but tight analysis. So housing equity created. No, that's not what we're talking about. No, I'm talking about uplift in land versus uplift in housing equity. The blended multiplier breakout. What percentage of total uplift came from that? So the total is 11%, 27, and the blended is that, right? There you go. So it shows that we look at land uplift first, multiplier, housing, and blended, suggested wording. Okay. Now do a case study that talks about horizontal land partners all together. Start to finish. This was about 1 year. So we'll get approvals in June, probably. We're starting the demolition permit, policy case study, process, challenges involved. Horizontal land partners, April, Freebus Avenue strategic entitlement was engaged. The initial goal is to reposition the site and limited manufacturing for mixed income. That strategy, master planning, height reduced, that technical resolutions, land uplift, return on that, proactive design recalibration, exemplifies value creation through disciplined institutional grade entitlement through a $60,000 professional engagement, HLP. Rate this 1 to 10. Okay, so what we would do is and it will be June. It will be July 2025 approved. Update time. So what we're saying is um April to April 2025. We're almost done. We haven't fully built it down, but I'll just change it myself. But basically we write this is kind of the end of our engagement pretty much. Now we have transactional experience. And so we take this and it shows basically our case study here. Case study, multifamily. And oh, whoops, I want to add uh, I'll probably insert the site plan, which is uh, this is what we want to show. So we take this and we're going to input it here. To our letter. Construction jobs, project duration, 12 months. It's April. I would say we're pretty much done, but we'll say June. So that would be 14 months. And let's see here. To June 2025. There we go. So this is kind of our this is what we send to our client. Dang, Philip. This is our planners. And let's see here. I'm very confident that this will get approved. So we have this, we have the letter of support. Make sure that it's all. Let's double check. I think we're in good shape. Philip, please find our letter of support as the advisor on this project and include in the development commission. Okay, so that is, we attached our letter of support. I don't know where it went. Yep. And that's everything. So now what we do is we have to think in terms of the client. If we, I own a construction firm here, we're vertically integrated, so it makes it good for us for infill sites that people can't really get into. That's what we do. So what we need to do now is write a quick next steps. So client next steps. This will be, so our clients are oops. This is going to be client next steps and demolition estimate. Estimate and notices. Okay, so what we say now is we go here and we say the client here is this LLC, and we have another one which is here. They own this in two parcels in two LLCs. They have a mortgage to refinance post approval at city council, which we expect between June and July 2025. Typically, we would recommend getting asbestos testing done and abated and filing demolition permits immediately. Most banks to refinance want to see the site scraped, so they would also want to give notice at least to any tenants. I have the parcel info, our budget price of $10 per square foot for total project clearing and grading would be based on the two structures on site and the lot area. And we'd recommend putting a construction fence up. We'd recommend putting the demolition estimate in the demolition permit in ASP to get approvals. It's a standalone permit. We can do the permit submission for 2,000 per property. That would get us to the area commission review and approval by June, July 2025, and we can demolish the buildings. So he can close his refinance and absorb the land lift, which we expect at 15,000 a door. But most banks will want to see it cleared. That means we need to test for asbestos and file for demolition permits within 2 weeks. Here is the site info. And if you can write an estimate up, that includes total clearing of all buildings and building envelopes, no landscaping, and flat grading and utility capping, it will be good. No abatement. This is in the city of Columbus. I have a demolition license. We would also recommend engaging the same traffic study company and engineers for final site compliance submission. And continue to civil lot survey and lot combination. Okay. Here is the site info. So this is kind of next steps. In the city of Columbus, County of Franklin. This is Pink Development Construction. GC number 09302. Okay, and then we pull the other one. That's report 10. We want report 11. So we're going to write, basically, you gave me everything for professional demolition, clearing, and permitting. Here's your final clean estimate. Demolition and site clearing. Proposes full demolition of the properties on site by delivering that a mortgage refinance is planned upon city approval, asbestos testing, demolition, whatever. Permit submission at 2,000. Estimating clearing costs. No, the site has 2 buildings on it, which are, let's see how big they are. It's just easier to go to Google Earth. So we have to look at what it encompasses, 1551 Freebus. This goes through the same process. So you have this building here. Your square feet. It's approximately 20,000 square feet. 20,000 square feet and 1,800 square feet. The utility disconnects be approximately 7,500. Asbestos testing, not removal. We estimate around 3,000. I would say probably, yeah, 3,000. And the pavement we can remove at, let's look at the pavement and concrete. We got to look at it. It's probably going to be, we'll just take this whole area. There's a little bit up front, but we kind of double counted it. It's about 23,000 square feet, probably $3 a square foot. Sometimes the lender may use our bid to refinance as well. It allows him to get conversations going. Bid should be much less, somewhere around 300K. Retabulate. Let's see here. Lump sum, lump sum, lump sum. And is more formal if engaged. And if lender says or requests demolition as part of the refinance, we can clear them and he will need to have a demolition permit issued for both structures. So we recommend it. You're explaining the critical lender requires demolition. You can formalize it. Pre-made allows you to control timing and satisfy the bank. Pulling permits now so that the owner is proactively ready. I'll add you to it. Okay, so we're writing this. This is the construct. This is the total breakouts, and depending on how fast they move, it has our information and final things. So we take this, we put this into a Google um, this is our site clearing proposal, submitting demolition permits, most banks initial it. It's because of the area commissions. Um, we can say area commission voting takes 60 days. So this will set up timeline perfectly. Same South Side Area Commission. So if we say that, if we show that we're moving forward to clearing the site and prepping it, that's what you want to do. So this is our client next steps, and that is full deal cycle. So we have our client success story, we have our letter of support, we have next steps. I also sent him to an attorney that will be able to advocate for him on the housing side. And that's everything. So, that one piece of paper and all the hearings cost money. We have the return on entitlement spend that we talked about. And it just shows our efficiency as operators. That's for, the entitlement. You can create a lot of different types of net value creation, but as a case study, I think it's pretty clear on our value prop. So that's everything. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Very long, but necessary.